right, welcome back to Kenya's Choice 2022. Today, we want to talk about how you heal. My name is Will Saburu. We want to talk about how to heal. Apparently, Ashata says we should also talk to the quote-unquote losers. Yeah, that is pending. Anyway, the losers. Kama umepoteza kiti, kama umepoteza mtu, kama umevunjwa roho, kama wewe umevunja mtu roho, or you just need to heal. We want to talk about that in different areas. Today it is what Wahiga Maura would call a manel, not a panel. The two lovely ladies are away. That is Shazmin and Bobby, Roberta. But we'll take it inside and continue. We'll start with CJ. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
You okay?
I am okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We wounded you and you inflicted the pain on somebody else, but it is okay. That is Liverpool. We are sorry. It is a form of healing. You healed with 9 goals. My goodness. Hey, hata hakuna huruma. There's a time I saw Klopp just sitting on the sideline like, oh my God, boys, I thought I told you to fika tano. But they added 4. Anyway, it's okay. Shatta boy.
Yeah, man.
Are you okay?
I'm perfect.
You're wonderful.
Na pia usisahau sisi ndio the only team haija drop points.
So mtafanya invincibles.
Ndio hiyo.
Na Ateta.
Hata wengine ilianzaga hivyo.
Na Ateta.
Yes.
Na Haaland.
Of course. we will cross that bridge when we get.
When you get there.
Yeah, man.
That bridge is.
Mende uangusha kabati.
That bridge is laden with explosive IEDs. It is not
and everything that comes
to go through, but it's okay. All right, so today I want to talk about how to heal. And what I'll do this time, if you suggest a topic in the group, you'll be sending voice notes so that we play them in case you don't make it. So Shazmin, Shazmin, it is what it is, but it's okay. Pona vizuri. We want to start there. How do you heal? It's a very... and this is something I've realized, I'll start with you, CJ. What's happening, I feel, this is my own view, is that these days people have a lot of information. And just like it is when you want to go to the chemist, so many people can self-diagnose, so to speak, because of the information that is around. But when it comes to actually doing the work, people are, you're suspended in sort of a, what we will call a purgatory. You're neither up there or down there. So what do you think are what do you think is the reason for that in terms of, is it because, like we say, it takes hard work? Or is it because we are so consumed by, I have to see him, I'm okay. Yes, I have to see him, I have the information, I'm woke. But then you're not healed.
I think my first question to myself on that question would be then, what am I healing from? Is it, you mentioned a few things that people would be heartbroken from. So is it emotional wounds that I'm healing from? Is it physical? Is it just crazy stuff like football? Because some people take that so personally.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Some people.
You're the some people.
Some people take that so personally that they actually need to heal.
Yeah.
But, the thing is that even with medical conditions, symptoms in some cases look very similar. You'll have several sicknesses or diseases, situations that have similar symptoms that if you go into the net to try and self-diagnose, you may feel that whatever has been described fits your situation.
And you're on the right track.
Yes, and it may not be. There's a reason why in medicine they will really emphasize on tests. Sometimes when the doctor sees you, they can tell that this person may be going through this, but they will insist on you running the tests because they've got to eliminate everything else. They do not work on assumptions. Some things are too close to call. Now, I think that is where the challenge of too much information comes in, because you may go into a site or read a book or listen to somebody and you feel that most of the symptoms being describe you. So sometimes maybe you have a burnout. It's very close to what would look like depression. It may be very close to what would be an emotional meltdown. And so you just decide, I am depressed. Or you may feel it's nothing big. I think I just have a burnout. Yet actually, you are depressed. It's important for us when we are not well to talk to the people who can actually decode what we are suffering from. I think it would start there. Like, don't just try to fix this thing by yourself. A lot of people sink lower and lower because what they thought was a very simple issue becomes a bit more complex as they keep on going. So just like we would go to the doctor and get diagnosed and go through tests so as to eliminate anything else that would be an issue. I'd give you an example. I have somebody now. He was going into hospital initially. They wanted an X-ray. The X-ray was not conclusive, so they said he needed to go in for endoscopy and biopsy, and even that then revealed that there was cancer somewhere in the esophagus. You see, you can't tell that from an X-ray, and sometimes the net is this general X-ray.
Right.
It will tell you there's something somewhere, but it can't tell you what exactly it is. So for you to be able to deal with your specific and individual issue, you may need to go and talk to somebody. Yeah.
And what is the challenge, Shata? Kuenda kuongea na mse, there are people who feel like, one, you might not want to be vulnerable. Number two, just like to use the hospital analogy, people always say that, they are just running tests because they want my money. So you might not want to go and actually seek the help. What do you think needs to be done, especially with, I don't want to lump everybody in a group, but let's just say the age of social media. I don't say Gen Z, X, Y, Z, W. I just general with social media, like we've said, unaweza enda mneti and you get all this information. But what stops people, in your view, from taking that step? Na si ile step yako. Yeah.
Well, kwanza, I think it's a blessing in disguise that tuko hivi leo kwa Emmanuel, because hii topic mostly hata kenye umeuliza ina affect wanaume sana. Unaona, what prevents them from taking this step? Mostly people that don't realize that they need to heal is men, because men do not tap into their emotions. They do not know how to understand their emotions or to feel their emotions. Unaget? So that on its own is a hindrance. That one will stop him from wanting to know what they are feeling, because hajui anafaa kufeel. Unaona? And then pia kuna sasa vile umesema social media, kuna ile anaogopa backlash ya vile watu watampassive aje. Akienda pale nje aseme, guys, I think I'm feeling this and this and that. What will they say about me? As a man, I'm told I should be strong. I should not feel ABCD. Unaelewa? So that is the number one. Hata ukisoma mostly shule unaambiwa ndio mwanaume afike point anaenda OC. Amejaribu kila kitu. They have ignored that feeling. Ametry kila kitu, amejitibu. Ifike pale anaenda OC sana sana anapelekagwa. It's not easy to see a man walk if it amejipeleka, guys, I'm going for a checkup. Lazima there is something that really disturbed them. Unaelewa? Because you've been taught to be hard and to ignore your emotions and feelings. Unaelewa? Na pia tukiongea sasa beyond sasa relationship healing, vile tumesema kuna hata hiyo ya political, kuna football, na vile CJ amesema lazima ufanywe vitu mingi from X-ray to endoscopy and all that. But you need to heal from 3 things at the same time.
Right.
Maybe you're a fan.
Excuse me.
You have a heartbreak. Your candidate did not win.
It is a multiplicity.
You have
plethora.
like 4 things you need to heal.
Yes.
You have to arrange yourself. Decide danza kuheal. This is the step I'll take. Unaona, kuna vitu mingi sana zenye mostly zinazuliwa wanaume. But unajua kumdem ni easy kusema hayuko poa na asikilizwe na best yake. Another thing, do you have a safe space as a man where you can go and talk what you're feeling and be listened to and not be judged?
Right.
Unaget, those are among the things that would stop anyone from taking that route. Yeah, man.
So if what is a safe space? That's another thing. CJ, what would be a safe space? And now that you've decided to zero in on men, now because we are the majority, what is that safe space for a man? And there's also that issue. I remember one time we were talking about this, and even Shata said that sometimes men would find it easier to talk to women. But what is a safe space for men around men? Yes, we have finished watching the Manchester United game or the Liverpool game, and how come it's easy for us to gather to watch a game? Easy for us to gather to quote unquote drink our sorrows away. But you know, how will I determine that these people offer a place where I can also say, guys, by the way, it's not just Manchester that's causing me pain. There's also ABCD.
You know, men gather mostly around interests. Women gather around intimacy. And when men come together, whether they're watching football or it is the Formula One or it's politics and stuff, the things that they talk about mostly are things that do not touch on intimacy. It's things that are external to them. They're not personal. Now, that in itself sometimes creates challenges because if we always meet and talk about football, then I'm not sure I am allowed to talk about my personal feelings. There's no space of vulnerability that has been opened up there. So I may have something I want to talk about, and I'll feel like Shatta said, you know, how will Willis take it? And maybe you also want to talk about something, but then you think, well, that's not accepted here. There's this silent rule that becomes a culture that we only talk about certain things that don't touch on us because nobody has broken that particular barrier. So the safe space is a place where there is vulnerability. And I'll take you back again to the element of when you go to the doctor.
Right.
When you sit there, you know that there is a code of confidentiality. This person has sworn an oath. They have the element of the doctor-client confidentiality. Whatever you say over there will not be used against you.
Even in a court of law.
Yeah, it won't be used against you. But the doctor is not just offering you safe space in terms of you can speak about what you're going through, but they're also bold enough to tell you, Willis, if you keep on going like this, you're going to end up in trouble. So it is not just that I need to express what I'm going through. It should be a place where I can also allow truth to come back to me. Because what is the use of me coming to you and saying, man, I'm broke, I've got all these loans, but I cannot allow you to ask me, how did you get there? How can we fix this? I don't allow you to say, look, stop borrowing a lot. Why don't you restructure your loans, you know, begin to pay this and this, don't borrow anymore, let's work on this. Why wouldn't I allow you that if I'm going to express myself to you and say I'm in this fix and I need you to help? So the safe space should be a place of both vulnerability and solutions, where both of us understand that we want to make something work. Now, that can only be created by trust. There has got to be a connection. I've got to believe that Willis wants the best for me. So it will move us then from the place of just relating based on interest to intimacy. Men have got to understand the element of intimacy, where I get to know the heart of Willis. Willis wants the best for me, and he wants the best out of me. So even if I go and tell him I have messed up, things are terribly bad, if I left my house at midnight and I knocked to your door, you'll receive me. But you won't keep me there for a week. You'll want to find out
What's going on?
What's going on.
Yeah.
And you want to find out how can you help me. That is now the safe space where we can be vulnerable, but we also find solutions.
And is it also then, can we say then, Shatta, that also men and women, generally people are afraid to look in the mirror? Like sometimes you could hear somebody speak and yes, they've self-diagnosed or even they've started therapy, but ni kama hawataki ukweli sana. It's a challenge.
In such a situation, mtu atakuwa anajua kile amefanya ni wrong. Unaona, ni ati sasa hataki uirudie. Ana feel condemned. Already anakuwa amejicondemn. Unaona, ndio afike point amekuja kukuambia niko hivi na hivi na hivi. Already they are condemning themselves. And when they come to you, they are not coming for that. You know, they want, most of them come wakitaka kuambiwa kitu poa. They know what they did is wrong. But kiukweli pia wewe hutamwambia tu kitu poa because anataka ambiwe kitu poa. You have to tell them the bitter truth. Unaelewa? But mostly people don't. Hata mtu akikuja OC na anajua ni yeye alikula vitu baridi akakuwa na tonsils, hataki umwambie. They don't want you to tell you wewe ulikula vitu baridi. No, they want you to tell them in a softer way. Una get another problem that we have. Mimi naona watu kwa hii dunia, people calling each other friends. And I wonder, you know, there's a difference between people you make money with and friends. Just because we do business and we are okay, when we meet, there's a lot of money around us and success, and we think we are friends. that's because you make money. You have to, again, go back and reevaluate your friendship. You know, is it based on the business we do? What is this? If we took away this business, does this person remain my friend? You know, such a person is a person that is capable of telling you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. And they will not, if they are true friends, they will not let you get to that level where sasa you have to come back, umeenda ukapotea. Unaona, they will tell you earlier when you're starting. They're like, you know, my guy, ABCD unafanya sio poa. This one, I know it will lead you. Unaelewa?
Right.
But what naturally human nature tuko nayo siku hizi is to surround ourselves with yes men. We just want to,
And this is a
yes,
problem across the board.
across the board. We just want people that tell us yes.
From politics to friendships.
True that. So you want praise.
Right.
And people that will not correct you. They'll just tell you, okay, uko sawa buda, they cheer you, ukijiingiza tu kwa shimo. Then when you're in there, you have no value to them and they leave you. And you start saying, my friends walinitoka ile wakati nilikuwa kwa shida. You didn't have friends to start with. If anyone alikutoka when you are in need, they were not your friend. You just lied to yourself. You deluded yourself that these are my friends. Unaget? But there are people that were using you to get what they wanted. Unaona? So in this life, lazima hata sahi mwenye na watch show, you must sit down and start evaluating. How many friends do I have? True friends. Start removing things that make you friends with these people. Is it business? If this business is not here, are we still friends? Is it work? If I am not at work, do we still talk with this person? Is it the football games that we go to watch if they are not here? You know? Hivyo, utajipata umebaki na circle kama watu watatu ama hata wawili. But these are true friends that will be with you at any point of life. And those are the people now you need to keep. Unaelewa? And when they talk, you listen. Kwa hii dunia, you can't know everything.
Which is another thing altogether. Hiyo mambo ya kulisten.
See, what you do, what people can do to you is advise you. No one can decide for you. You know, you listen, interpret the information you've been given, then act on it if you want to. Unaget, at the end of it all, it is you that makes the decisions. Kama wewe ni mtu mzima, at least unajua mtoto utammikia decision yake atakula leo. But wewe ni mtu mzima, you will make your own decisions. Unaelewa? But the moment umefika point you can't be told, auko pabaya. No one can advise you. You're in a very wrong trajectory. And before you realize, you'll be alone. And now you'll be saying, walinitoka.
But reality, ulijitoka. Juu hata ujijua.
Ulijipotea mwenyewe.
Don't know who you are.
Yes.
Very interesting analogy, not analogy, a word. Somebody talked about intimacy, and I heard somebody break it down. Okay, it was actually in a comedy, but you can learn from everywhere. This person said intimacy means into me I see. Yeah. Basically. So there are people who look inward, and the conclusion they make is, that's just the way I am. So how do you deal with somebody like that who, like Shatta says, the people who are around you are trying to get through to you that, you know what, I think ABCD needs to change in your life. But this person has come to the conclusion that, yes, like I was telling you, self-diagnose, and I know everything, I'm woke, I know I have this problem, this is what I need to do, rest, etc. But again, people, mi nakuanga tu hivyo.
You know, when I was thinking about, even as Shatta was talking, healing begins with truth. Healing begins with truth. I have to be told the truth about the situation that I am in, whether it has to do with my diet, whether it has to do with my blood pressure, whatever it is. Healing begins with truth. Right. I've got to phrase that truth. Right. Then we work towards the desired place. And even as a person, for you to get to the place where you're whole, you must start from the place of truth. If everybody around you who is close to you and wishes you well points you to a certain direction that you're not willing to go, then you don't want the truth. And now that's a place where this person then cannot heal. There are various reasons why people behave like that. Some of them are just, we talk about this a lot, but we can never, overstate the importance of backgrounds that people come from.
Right.
There are people who are criticized so much growing up that they do not know how to handle anything that they don't think is a praise as they grow.
Okay.
Because they feel everybody criticizes them. So they've built up these walls. They are very insecure. So even when you point out something positively, they go on the defensive because they have developed an averseness to criticism. They take everything as criticism. So they avoid anything that they think is trying to put them where other people put them. Until now,
but this is a personal thing.
It's a personal thing. Until they face that truth themselves, they will keep on losing friends, like Shada was talking about, because anytime you point out to them, you're not doing the right thing, they put you in the category of the people who used to criticize them and put them down. But they don't realize they never healed from that. So they treat everybody from that wound. They have to get to the place and tell themselves that, look, I am okay. Those people may not have appreciated who I was. They may have talked me down. They may have spoken so many negative things about me, but I am okay. I am fearfully and
wonderfully made.
I am whole. I am complete.
Right.
The globe could not be complete without me. These 7 billion people would not have fitted properly without me. They have to self-affirm and find that so that they can relate with other people from a point of healing. Sometimes that journey has got to begin with you, and you ask yourself, why am I losing good people?
Right.
Or why am I being hurt so easily?
Right.
Why am I very sensitive to this kind of conversation? If Shatta mentioned something to do with my, what would I say, my work, and I get upset, then you mention something to do with my work, I get upset. Somebody else mentioned something to do with my work, I get upset. I need to ask myself, why is it that this thing is a trigger? So I talked about truth. If we're going to heal, it begins with truth. But then you have to look at the triggers. What are these triggers? Why is this thing triggering you?
Right.
Because those triggers will point you to truth. Why are these things triggering you? Why do you get upset when people talk about something about your life? Or when you encounter something, or when you face something in your life? Why does that hurt you? Does it take you back to a place you've been before? Does it take you back to a negative experience you've had before? So are these people the problem? Or is the experience the problem? Or are you the problem? Or is it that you have not actually gotten over from that? You'll find maybe if somebody grew up in an abusive family where the father would probably beat the mother, something, and she's a lady. When she grows up, she has all these walls against a man. If he raises something, she begins to feel that thing is going to replay. So the man faces such a hostility in this place that he has no idea. His offense does not warrant the reaction. But for this person, this thing is a trigger of something that they used to see. So they've got to get to the place of facing that truth. These triggers, they point you back to truth. And so from there, then you begin the journey, the traveling. You begin the journey of, how do I move from this place? Why does this thing have power over me? Why does it, cause me to react like this, cause me to hate, cause me to run away from people? Some people's way of dealing with something, if you point out to them, is they shut you off. They just disconnect. So they're no longer talking to you, anything, because that's not what they wanted to hear. I have to get to the place of truth if I want to get healed.
And in facing that truth, because pia again kuna watu wanajua this is how like CJ said, this is how I was brought up. So umerealize sasa mimi mtu akiongeanga vibaya juu ya tuseme pesa, I get very triggered because growing up this is something maybe I saw. So now that you have the knowledge and you've listened to it and now you want to make the next step, how do you begin? Unajua mimi, my trigger is if somebody misuses money. My trigger is if somebody talks as if they're belittling me. It may not be that when I belittle, but from where I sit, it looks like that. How do you now start making steps towards, sasa, enyewe nakuanga hivi, but I can change?
Kazi yake tumesema sounded like a book title.
Which one?
Patie CJ anje andike.
Gani?
Facing the truth.
Number 11. Book number 11.
Book number 11. Yeah, facing the truth.
Yeah.
Unajua kila njia yote ya recovery, first of all ni acknowledge. Unajua you acknowledge the part you played in all that. Unaget, alafu sasa unaanza kumove towards it. Mimi kitu naambiaga watu ni hii ni journey. Unaona na journey unaambiwa ukitaka kwenda mbali enda na watu. If you want to walk fast, walk alone. But utaenda mbali. But if you want to go far, work with people. Unaona? So kama usha realize hii na ni affectigi, you surround yourself with that energy. You know I want to heal. Therefore, I will surround myself with energy that supports me in my healing process. Unaget juwezi sema ati mimi mtu akiongea vibaya kuhusu do inanitrigaga, then unakaa nao watu. Unaelewa? You have to acknowledge that hawa kwanza ndo wananiweka hapo. Unaona? So
you're not making any change.
Yeah, so haujajisaidia. Unaona? Hiyo ni wale wanasema mimi nimeacha pombe. As long as siendi kwa bar.
Watu wanaenda kwa bar.
Unaona? It's the same thing. Unashinda tu hapo, unajitry wewe mwenyewe unashinda ukijipiga test and you'll keep failing that test. Unajumuli yako ina understand hiyo kitu unatry ku fail from. Unaelewa? So mostly mimi naambiaga wase ukisha acknowledge uko na hii shida, that is number 1 step to recovery. Number 2 sasa unaanza ku work towards it. Come up with a formula, a work plan. Unaona, huwezi sasa jiseke gezingi leo I will do this. No, you must have a structure that you're following. Number 1 nimesema kwanza jisurround na energy yenye inakusupport. Unaona, if you ukisoma the Roman empires kitambo, kuna mistake kubwa sana Julius Caesar did is that he trusted that senate that he found there that it would work with him. It ended up killing him. Unaona, because alijiambia alitrust ni wale tutakuwa mabeste. Unaelewa? So pia wewe umesha realize hii mbogi ndio inaniderail. You have to stay away from it. Kitu watu wanasemaga wewe ulitutoka, ulituomokea, unaget. Umechange. Those are things that people don't want to hear. Ulituchangia, ulituomokea, but at some point you have to step back. Unaona, heal then come back if you need to. Unaget. But sometimes you might even heal and feel like there's no need to go back. Unaelewa? But if you can heal and then you can relate with these people, fine. Hiyo ndo umeanza, umejichoose. Number 1, people don't choose themselves. Watu wajipendi enough kujichagua. You keep doing things to please people. You are a people pleaser, if there's a word like that. Uko tu wewe kazi yako ni kufurahishaga watu. At no point do you ever sit down and say, what about me? When do I choose me? When do I become a priority in all this? Unaelewa? Uko na pesa lakini inaishia kwa watu wengine. Wewe haikufikii. Imeisha. So na by the way how appreciate uliwapea, na feel uliwapea kidogo. Wewe ulibakia una. And you still struggle but you've never chosen you. Choose you. Jiambie mimi ni binadamu, and for me to make these people fine, I have to be fine. For them to be comfortable, I have to be comfortable. I can't give what I don't have. Unaona, once you tell yourself those things and you decide to choose you would not want. By the way, do practically leo, if someone ever came to you akwambia kwa relationship maybe ni kama anaabuziwa, kosa kumjibu, piga na yeye story, alafu like 10 minutes later you see what they told you, tell them as if it's your story. They will have an answer. They will tell you, by the way, step. By the way, huyu mtu mfanyie hivi na hivi na hivi. It tells you, you already know what you want. It's just that you need someone else to tell you that. Unaget, your inner self tells you what you need to do. You just need to listen to it and choose you and start doing. It's that simple.
Start doing.
Yeah, man.
But then we also have a situation, CJ, where we will start, then we stop. We kind of keep going back and forth.
Relapse.
Yes, relapse. We kind of keep going back and forth to the same issue, whether it's going back to an abusive relationship, and this could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be, in any way, shape or form. Or, of course, for work, it's different because now there are dynamics around survival and other people who are looking up to you. But there are people who you yo-yo around the same issue. You just keep going back and forth. Why do you think that is so, and how can you kind of break that cycle?
I think part of the journey that you set out on for healing is to declare the new you that you want. It's important for people to know, guys, I don't think I want to be going to the bar anymore.
So you voice it.
You voice it. You need to. You need to talk about it. Say, look, we've been in this relationship with you, and I think you're a good guy, whatever, but I don't think that this is what will work for me in the future. Sometimes we don't say that enough. So we want to work it out by ourselves. Now, what that does is that we don't have accountability. So I'll tell myself I've stopped drinking. Then 2 days later, when I feel like going, because I told nobody, I'll just show up. I'll say, I know, guys, I'm going through something, but I'm here. then I disappear again. So it's an internal battle. Sometimes you don't get external help because you have kept this thing internally. I think when you announce it, it doesn't mean that it will be easier. But then you'll also find that there are people who respect that fact. There are people who may be with you in the grouping that you are in, doing the stuff you want to stop doing, and they will respect that. There are people you may be smoking with on the day you say, guys, I want to quit smoking. You'll be surprised that there's somebody who may understand that. And
they might actually light it and say, where will you say,
yeah.
You know.
And they're like, yeah, you're not coming in. And then they begin to work out as a support system that when they need to go and do those stuff, they don't call you. So that is also helping ease the pressure. I think you need to voice it, and not just once. And not voice it like you're fighting with anybody. Tell them, guys, this is my intention. I don't think I want to go this direction anymore. I want to do things differently. Now, even when you're transitioning, because you see, I talked about truth. I talked about triggers. So when you're transitioning, moving from one behavior to the next, one group to the next, it is also not so sudden that it puts the pressure on you. It's a transition. Even when you're coming from things like addiction, you know, it's a transition.
It's not cold turkey.
It's not just, okay, today I've stopped this and then tomorrow you have a new diet. No, this is why people lose the fight. You want to go to the gym once and have the muscle. Day one.
It's a problem.
Yeah. You talk about you've quit sugar today, you're no longer eating ice cream, then tomorrow the sun is hot, now you don't know what to do.
You're back. Yeah.
You're back there. So it's a transition, and transitions require a lot of discipline. That's where the structure that Shatta was talking about. So you need that. We even in government, we have transitional committees.
Right.
That thing is not just an overnight thing of, hey, you won, come, let me give you this stuff. No, you got to prepare people. Prepare the environment. That's where you look at, do I need to change my environment? Do I need to change my habits? Do I need to adapt new habits? Do I need to fill my time with other things? You give yourself that time to keep on walking into it. Because if you do not transition well, you will find yourself going back. The transition period, Willis, is the period within which what you're talking about, you keep tripping.
Right.
You keep tripping. But just like Mali will trip, that doesn't mean that he will not walk.
Right.
So you have to allow yourself to trip, get up, and say, okay, I did 3 steps, and I got tired here. Can I do 5 steps? Don't just expect yourself to move from never having walked to doing a kilometer.
Yeah.
So the tripping does not mean you're failing. It just means that your system has not developed the capacity to stand on its own. It is beginning to learn a new thing.
Oh, but hold on, sorry to cut you short. But so how do you not make the tripping an excuse? How do you not get stuck there?
You need people around you. You need people around you who have been there, or people who want to see you win. So that, remember when I talked about truth, that it's not just a place of vulnerability, but it's a place where I can tell you, but Willis, you're not handling your money fine.
Right.
Those are the people that you need at that particular point. So they're not just saying, oh, you came in the night, man, whatever she did to you, that must be so bad. Then you keep me there for a whole month.
Right.
You have to sit with me and ask me, so what happened? What is it? Can I call home and find out whether we can sort out this thing? So there's no excuse. The people around you should not be enablers. They should be coaches. They should be mentors. They should be, in lack of better words, doctors, people who are telling, physiotherapists in a way, people who are telling you, you will make it. Now, you've done that. Today, push yourself to 7 steps or 8 steps or 9. It's the only way to get yourself there. When my daughter went into surgery like nearly 8 weeks ago,
right,
the doctors would push her every single day to begin walking. And they said, because if you don't, it's going to interfere with your healing process. So this is somebody who was completely opened up, but they say, go out and walk. Initially with the support of other people, then slowly walk by yourself. And they want that so that the system, again, does not begin to clog, begin to get weak. So those are the people that you need around your life, that when you're tripping, they say, okay, Willis, fine, get up now. Let's do it again. So they appreciate the effort you made. They know you trip, but they know that this is part of the process. Not guys who will be telling you, we told you there's no way you're going. we told you you can't do more than 5 steps.
Yeah,
In fact, the more you hear those kind of voices, the more you should tell yourself, I need to actually walk. Because those are not people who want you to be well. Anybody who celebrates your downfall, I mean, whatever reason, they don't wish you well. And even if there's nothing that is happening in that season, you have just found reasons to walk. Yeah.
That's when you can apply the shutter boy. Yeah. All right. We have a question here before I jump to go to Shutter. We have the question of the day here. We're going to throw it to you this time so that we just get a feel of what you people are thinking out there. So what do you think is hindering your healing process? Wewe mwenyewe. It's time to self-diagnose. You can go ahead and use the hashtag, Kenya Stress 2022. Remember, though, on Twitter, we will project your handle. So if you want to be private about it and you don't want many people to know, we advise you to use our SMS platform, which is 22422. That is 22422. That is the SMS line. You can tell us what you think is hindering your healing. If you're bold enough to say where you're watching from and your name, it's a plus. But if you want to be discreet about it, 22422. And maybe once we understand a bit of what's hindering your process, then you can... and we can go ahead and help you as well. Ama vipi. So Shutter Boy, the thing is now we've identified, we are now using the book, Facing the Truth. So number one, truth. Number 2, triggers. Yes. Number 3, transition. The 3 T's. Yes. So now it gets to a point when you're also in transition, just like CJ said, and it is across board. We see this across board. There's some teething problems that you mentioned, the tripping, another T. Yes. There's the tripping as well. But now we've talked about it from the side of the person who wants to make the change. But there are also people who are seeing, they are now the coaches, the mentors, and everybody that CJ has been talking about. And this could be a parent to a child. Unaona mtoto enyewe strength yake si shule sana, but I want to encourage them to keep moving forward. Or again, a child has come and opened up to you and said, I'm addicted to smoking. Or your friends have come and told you, I'm addicted to this. And so you are that friend. You want to help somebody. When somebody has tripped, what do you do to them? How do you stop from being wale ai? Unajisumbua too. So on the opposite side, not the person who wants to heal, the friend who's watching their friend heal.
True. Number 1, you avoid being judgmental. And buy into their idea, buy into their journey, be part of their journey. And once you decide to support them in their recovery, of course you need to just go educate yourself on a recovery journey. There are things like that tripping will happen. So when it happens, what do I do? How do I comfort them? How do I encourage them to get back on the horse, Because if you do not, and they come to you, and pia wewe haujui, and you start advising from a point of ignorance, utapata unampoteza even mnapotea nyu wawili.
Right.
But when I decide to take on this journey and I bring you on board, it means I'm with you on this journey. And when I trip, we have tripped. It's not mimi peke yangu. Unaona? And it is your responsibility because you agreed to be part of this journey. Right. It is your responsibility to get me back, dust me off, and tell me to endelea.
Let's do this again.
Unaona? Right. Tukianza safari, we knew this part would come. Unaget? We knew this would happen, and this is how we prepared for it. Just educate yourself. Just want to be a better version of yourself every day. That I know there's a friend of mine that is going through alcoholism and they are healing. So I will go and research on it. How do I become of help to this person? When they come to me and tell me that they're feeling like they want to go to a bar today, I want to know, ni nini hiyo nitakukurudisha?
What's the trigger?
Yeah, what's triggered you? Back to our teas, eh? Why not go have tea?
Instead. Yeah, very important.
Yes, ni nini hiyo. So when you understand the trigger, you will start dealing with that trigger. So that unaweza advise you don't realize hiyo trigger anarudi pale iko tena. Inaenda inamtrigger tena. Unaona? So he keeps coming to you mpaka unaanza kuchoka. But it's because unatibu symptom, unatibu ugonjwa. You just better yourself and want to be better for your friend also. Unaget? Vitu kama hizo zitamsaidia. Na pia wewe the process you become a better person. Zinakusaidia. Unaget? Juu hata unaweza jipata pia wewe uliingia kwa situation and you start applying the same advice subconsciously that you gave to your friend. You start applying in your own system. Unaona? And it works for you. Kama saa hii I believe kuna healing nyingine inafaa kufanywa na group. Unaona, like right now let's assume nilikuwa naangalia nikaona kulikuwa na I think 16,000 candidates. Aspirants, let's call them aspirants, like 16,000 elective posts were 2,000 tuka hiyo. So kuna watu kama 14k wako nje, unaona. Na it's beyond the 14k. These people had committees, they had campaign teams, they had chief campaigners, they all this.
They had families even.
They had families vested in their campaigns, you know. And now it didn't work. Unalewa. So it's not yeye pekee na heal from not getting this seat. Kuna the campaign team that had promised itself that, oh, I'll be made a chairman here, I'll do this and that. And they are there now. So they do not know that they need to heal. This is their loss. They think ni yeye pekee. Hata ameenda isolate. Mostly they isolate themselves. Ama anaenda holiday kama alibaki na kakitu. Unaelewa? Na hao wengine. So that is where you see a lot of blame game. Unaona?
Ama watu wanamtoka.
Watu wanakutoka. Ama unapata committee yako inaanza kublamiana. Ni wewe ulifanya hii. Because they do not know how to process this thing collectively. That we are a team and we got to this point. Unaona? And mostly, this will bring me back to the tripping part.
Right.
You know, they see the loss. They do not see the gains. Even if they convinced 3 people to vote for them, they don't see the win in the 3 people that they convinced. Unaget? So even when this friend trips, what they will see is the tripping. They will not see the gain that they are realizing, I have tripped. You know, that on its own is a gain. That I am realizing, actually, hapa nimeteguka. It was your norm. It was your life. You are living it. But now you are realizing, nimepiga step moja nyuma. That is growth on its own. That is what you center on, and it gives you the energy to move a step forward. Like you realize, actually, kama na realize ni makosa nimefanya, it means nimegrow. Unaona? And from that one, it now bolts you forward.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very interesting that you mentioned that, and we're still waiting some of your feedback. It's 22422. But I very interesting to mention that because I remember in campus when I was deep in the Christian Union, or rather, yeah, I was deep in there, and I did what you said, CJ, because I had a smoking problem. Like I would do a pack or even sometimes a pack and a half a day of cigarettes. It was bad. But I said, I'll struggle on this thing where I can break it. I can break this in Jesus' name. I got this. But I still go and do it. And one time I had 2 very close friends, Alan and Jude, and I had to go and tell them that by the guys. And it was actually, you know, like when you guys, it was crazy things happen in church people. It was actually a week of fasting. So kila siku ki break fast at around 6:30, you guys pray. And at that point, we were going to hold hands and pray. And I knew sasa hapa nikisema kitu nitakashifiwa. But I was holding hands in the circle and I had my light and cigarettes kwa kabuti. So I just said, guys, I have to tell you guys something. I have a problem. Then they're like, what is it? I'm like, I have an addiction here. And it was very, the first thing they did, both of them hugged me and said, it's okay. And from there, that I think was the first step, because ninge kashifiwa. I think I would still be there today. But it's very weird. It's very hard to find people, especially like you said, because you talked about collectively, but also in collective groups sometimes. CJ, it's hard to heal because sometimes pain is so personal. Yeah. So how do you do that?
Before I get into that, when Shada was talking about that, so I'll add you another T, which is the element of trust.
All right. Here we go.
The element of trust.
Yes.
Because if you come to me, I need to understand you have trusted me. regardless of my personal opinion on your struggles. I need to know you have trusted me. So I cannot make careless statements. You can't come to me and say, look, I'm struggling with cigarettes, and tomorrow I'm posting about those of you who smoke, what do you think?
Yes.
And here you have come to talk to me. So you'll feel I'm attacking you,
right,
or I don't empathize with you. So the person that is the coach, is the mentor, is the therapist, has got to know there's a trust relationship here which they cannot break, no matter what you think. If you have your reservations, you bring them to the person personally. If not, you just shut up. That changes everything around you. Why? Because how I look at it is when you go to somebody to talk about your struggles, you are actually showing them what they themselves could be battling with, if not for several factors. Some of us say, if not for the grace of God, you know, if you come and you're struggling with alcoholism, that could have been me. So I shouldn't use that to empower me to feel like I'm superior just because I don't struggle with what you're struggling with. I should actually realize, man, so people struggle with these kind of things. I am at a point of advantage. I really need to walk with you because I have an advantage, which is not like the negative advantage where I load it on you, but I am at a place where you'd want to be, and I need to empathize and be able to bring you up.
And the principles might be the same, right?
Yes.
Principles of getting through an addiction. You might not have alcoholism, but you have your own struggle.
Yes.
You can still apply the same thing. Yeah.
So it is important that trust element is always there, no matter what happens. If I come into your house and something was wrong, or the two of you were not in agreement for any reason, I cannot leave that place and come back and tell Shatta, you see, guys are just here on social media. You can't do that because you're going to lose the trust of this person. Everybody who anybody has ever spoken to, just know that person trusted you. Just know that person trusted you. When they told you their deep things, their deep struggles, just know they trusted you.
Right.
So do not disappoint the trust in the first place.
Right.
But when you talk about the group thing, well, it's when, for example, let me use a family who have lost a loved one. They mourn differently. One person will want to go out because they want to shut down all those memories. Another one wants to hang around the memories. There are people who will fight over photos of a loved one.
Right.
One says, please take away all these photos. They're triggering me badly. Another one feels we need to actually monumentalize the memories of this person. So they want those photos. In fact, that's when they want the larger photos of this person over there. So dealing with loss, dealing with grief, dealing with pain, whatever issue it is very personal. Different people will have it differently, but the conversations do help. It is important to have conversations. I think, for example, in our African setups, when it comes to something like death, we don't really talk.
Yeah.
So you'll hear people buried a parent or both of their parents, and since the time they buried the last one, 12 years ago, nobody has gone to the home or the village. They're not talking among themselves how they feel about this thing. Everybody's dealing with it somewhere. They don't sit like this and ask, man, how is this thing? How does it make you feel? Even when they get together for things like, for those who do the memorials, they'll not really talk among themselves how they feel. So everybody seeks their own support system elsewhere. Now, it may be difficult sometimes to get those very deep conversations around that, unless now you have a facilitator who will make everybody express themselves in the group. I've seen, I had a certain couple one time that they had such a situation where they lost a baby and the lady just wanted to go out clubbing. That's her way of dealing with it. The man wanted them to stay at home and they lost that particular marriage. Then maybe if there was somebody then talking to them, then would try to bridge the gap and bring together, this person is doing this because this is how they feel. I've seen people who've lost a parent and they're upset with each other because one feels you're not mourning mom enough. And to them, it means so much that, do you realize mom passed? And how can you even be going on with your life and mom passed? Sometimes you find siblings, families scatter around that. So there's sometimes when you've got to do the group thing, there needs to be somebody who's facilitating this, who will be able to balance the emotions that are there, because those emotions will be all over the place.
Right.
The thing Shada was talking about, people will be blaming themselves. They'll be sitting there and they'll be feeling like, if you only were where the ballot papers were.
Hatungekuwa hapa. Ungekuja kulinda kura.
There's a silent blame game. Another one will be feeling like, these guys should have released more money.
Right.
We kept on asking them for money to facilitate our stuff. They didn't. Another one will be like, but we're the only ones who are on the ground. You guys are sleeping there now. You want to talk about this. So everybody will be feeling somehow. There needs to be somebody or people who will come in and try and level the ground on all these feelings, because some people are in valleys, some people are on the hills. All
right. Well, we had some 5 SMSs that were there. If we could just quickly read through them. Inaweza pachiwa pale kwa ile kubwa. Sasa sijui kama hiyo ni 26, July ilikuwa 24. Anyway, this is Joe who? I can't, okay, hold on. I almost said Joe again. Joe Abuga, there you go. I have been suffering since we separated in Feb this year. Have been defeated on how to let go. What can I do? All right, Joseph from Eldoret. Great discussion. As a man, how does one get good friends? We talked about that. Paulo from Wasingishu, I think cutting off communication is key to healing and focus yourself. I think it is a step. It's a step. It's not always the one, but it's a step, yes. People around me are like my coaches, but they are feeding me negative feedback. I can't move forward. It's hard. I don't think they are coaches. They must be roaches. I feel I'm not able to move out of an abusive marriage because of my sick child and community perception. How do I deal with it, with the healing? I guess let's and good morning, Willis. CJ Atemo, they forgot the C, but it's okay. CJ Atemo and Shatta, all right? Watching you from Nairobi, sincerely, it's been 6 years since the father of my children left. I have not healed. I cannot love the same way again as much as I would like to settle, all right? My pride, my status in the workplace and community, how I want to look strong in the faces of family members, all this is hindering me from healing. How can I deal with this? Wow, all right. Hiya. Mandela from Kasarani. Sasa na tuna wind up. Ibra tumesoma mingi. Haya. I think my healing process is hindered by depression. However, I have numerously tried to make steps, but I end up relapsing. We've talked about relapsing, but I think now I'm on the right track since I have not relapsed for a month. Congratulations. Though I really wish I could make it through, especially with alcoholism. All right, that's a wrap. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. But for the person with the sick child and they want to move on, and those who want to move on from an abusive relationship, what would you advise them?
Even the one who says, you know, the place at work and the family, you got to realize that you are mostly responsible for you and your wellness. If you are not well, that image will crumble down somewhere along the line. So even for the sick child, you're there for them. If you are not well, that sick child will not be well because your energy will pass on to that sick child. I think instead of what the other guy was talking about, cutting communication, we need to talk about developing serene environments or walking into serene environments, which means sometimes shut off the voices. You're not cutting off communication, you're shutting down the voices. Listen to the inner person. What are you hearing on the inside? That sick child, you can take care of that sick child. You can always find support, even online. You can come up and say, if the case is genuine, there are people who will be willing to help. So you don't stay sick because you're trying to take care of a sick person. Eventually, they will not be well as well. They may be sick physically, but then emotionally, they begin to become sick when you become sick. So if you need to move out of any situation for your own sake, for your wellness, please do it. And then when you're well, you can think about the rest. Yeah.
Shatta, final thoughts?
Kenya tu CJ amemwambia, don't keep finding reasons to stay, because you will never run out of reasons to stay in an abusive relationship. And tukianza nilisema, you can't give what you don't have, you know? So if you are not okay, you can't make that child okay. Both of you will stay sick. Unaona? So if you can just make that step. If you've tried talking to this person and they're still abusive and they don't see the need to change, so maybe it takes them to lose you for them to change. You know? Just make that step. Get a friend. Talk to them. Move if you have to move. Because if it is 6 years and if you've tried to talk to them and they are not willing to change, then the situation has to change for them to change. You know, if you're still there, why would they change? But if they lose you, they might change. You know, and when they lose you, maybe you go out there and you're okay. First of all, you heal for this child and for yourself. I keep telling people, choose you, heal, and for the child also, because that child needs you at 100%. Unaona? The other guy mwenye amesema ana relapse na alcoholism, na amesema ameenda 1 month. Celebrate yourself. The best way to keep on the journey is to celebrate yourself. Celebrate that 1 month that you've been okay. That 1 month will push you to another month.
Right.
Set yourself short targets. Usijieke, I'll be okay for 1 year. Unaona? Jieke 2 weeks, I'll be okay. Jieke another 2 weeks. Fika point jiambie, I'll go 1 month. Unaona? Then one day utaamka and you will not need to set a goal for yourself. It will become you. Unaona? Set yourself realistic targets and start working towards them.
All right. Well, I would like to say thank you so much. In case you need more of this, we didn't get to answer clearly all of your questions, but if you want to, you can reach out to Shatta_boy on Instagram, Shatta Tikitaka on Twitter, and you can also reach out to CJ Atemo on all platforms, and also at Shazmin Bank, who's not with us here. You can reach out to her as well, and Roberta Bobby as well. You can always reach out to all of them. Hata mimi nimepitia vitu naweza kuadvise moja mbili, usinione hivi. I can also help you. You can also talk to me as well. But remember this, in summary, in case you've just joined and you want a sort of summary. First of all, we talked about triggers, we talked about truth, we talked about transition, we talked about trust. Those are the important elements when you want to heal. All right. You can also go and watch this later on YouTube. And finally, kwa sababu mutajaribu kulog ibra wetu, tafadhali ni sisi tulichelewa. Musimlog. It is on record on national TV. Mungu awabariki sana. Successful people look like you and God loves you, and that will never change. Peace and love.